Hello guys, and welcome to another video. This is all the things wrong with my 2003 Volvo XC90 that I've owned for literally less than 2 weeks. I'm finding more and more, which is very sad. But we're going to run around the car now and I'm going to show you everything that I need to sort on it. So guys, here is the glorious XC90. As you saw in the video before, we've now got the all-terrains on with the 17s. I think it is a great change. Not all of you will. If you're thinking, what are you on about? I'll put a link in the description below, and that will show you the 20-inch rims that this came on standard and the change we've made so far to it. I think it looks really great, and the rims in that shadow grey with the silver look really, really decent. So yeah, what are the problems? So I'm going to run through little things I've fixed, and they're going to basically go from being least important to quite a problem. So we're going to go from there. So first of all, bulbs all around the car. Some weren't working, some were LEDs, some were not. So they're all now matching. The xenons, one was about a 5,000 K xenon, one was an 8, so one was blue and one was yellow. So that has been sorted. And in terms of lighting, all that I have got left to sort is a OEM fog light cover. And in terms of it being damaged, it's just got a crack on the surface, so it isn't too bad. So that's quite minor. In terms of also things that are minor, the bodywork in places has got a little bit of damage, light scuffing, a few little bits of paint missing here and there. So that's the second thing on the list, and that is that the paint needs doing. Followed by the third thing, which is also cosmetic and isn't, again, that important, is that my headlights, can't really see them too well. They are a little bit old, so I don't know whether I'm going to upgrade to a different set of headlights or whether I'm going to get these ones tidied up. I'm not really too sure. So that, in terms of things need to sort, is the least important stuff of everything that I have got to sort. So we have one final one on cosmetics, and that is the chrome surround around the doors has gone bad. So if you have any suggestions in the comments of how to get this chrome looking back to normal, or some of your funky modifications you've made to change the chrome, then please let me know. So on the driver's rear right, there is what looks like a slice up the light, which is actually, I think, weak in the light. There might be a slight gap in there. I don't think it's letting any water in, but it's something I need to sort. Now, I will be getting a set of upgraded facelift lights at some point, but that needs sorting before we end up getting water in here and having rust. So the next part is in the engine bay, and I'm going to show you, or try and do it with one hand, struggle, another problem. So I have got a slight vibration through the car. This is also followed by, when I switch the car off, there's like a knock when you switch the car off, when the engine comes to a shuddering halt. So I think I've found the culprit, and I think it is here. Now, it's not actually, I don't think, the main one here that's connected to the engine, but it is the two outer bushes inside this unit here that are, I'm not exaggerating, that is that's what's making my noise. So it is actually the bushes down inside here are gone, so I'm going to be looking at replacing these two units first, probably the top one as well. And if this isn't causing the problem, then I'm going to be looking underneath more intently to work out whether one of the engine mounts has gone underneath. So yeah, it's rather annoying, but it isn't really a problem. It's really not something you'd notice when driving. It's just when you switch it off, you get a really annoying rattle. While we're in the engine bay, I have a steering pump issue where the steering pump, I think, is beginning to fail or break down, because when I'm sort of static in a fixed position pulling off, trying to do a turn, the steering is really heavy. It sort of comes and goes. Sometimes it's okay and sometimes it's really bad. So the steering pump is the first of the things we're going to change. It could well be the filter. There's a mesh they fit inside the fluid container, which over time degrades and starts to block the fluid going through the system. So it could be this, but I think the pump has had its day, and it is a slight bit of wetness around the bottom of it. I don't think it's leaking, if I'm honest with you, but it's just something that we're going to do. Check through the pipes and get the steering resolved. So the last two are sort of bad in their own ways. One's more long term, and the other's sort of an immediate issue that are both fairly somewhat, do I say dangerous? I would say they're not ideal. So these are the two serious issues with this truck. The first one being that when I am braking, the Volvo's pulling to the right. Now, it's not just sort of a little bit, it's quite aggressive. Now, if I had to slam on at 70 mile an hour, you know, you are fighting that wheel to keep the truck in a straight line. So, you know, I drive this thing cautiously anyway. It's big and heavy. I don't drive around like a knobhead anyway. So it's not really a problem, but it's something I need to resolve because it's not safe. And, you know, at the end of the day, if anything does happen in the emergency, it's leaving the car a little bit scatty under the wheel. Again, guys, any suggestions about any of these issues I'm having with the Volvo, let me know. Now, this is actually a common problem with the Volvo, and what I actually have done is I've been around it quite a bit, and I've been underneath, which I'm actually going to show you. I've actually been underneath and looked at all of the bushes on the suspension. I've also checked calipers. Now, what I am finding is all the bushes on the front are absolutely fine. Now, the rear arm we'll talk about in a minute is not so good, but the front's had recent arms, drop links, and all of the necessary bushes on the front of the car are actually great. Now, I checked the calipers when I actually fitted these wheels, and they're all binding to an extent. The wheels move freely. The worst one is actually the rear driver's side, but I would say the worst goes rear drivers, then both the fronts, and then the rear passengers. So they've had new wheel bearings done as well. So I reckon it's probably very likely to be caliper based, and realistically, maybe it's worth me just replacing the lot, discs and pads, when the time is necessary. And you're probably thinking that's a bit mental, but the thing is, this issue is quite a common one on the XC90s, and there's a lot of, there's a variety, of things that can cause it. So we might as well start with the basics and work our way up. And plus, the brakes look like the original ones with this mileage, so it's more than understandable that a nice new clean set of calipers would be very beneficial. And finally, the other one that's not really ideal, but I must say isn't necessarily a problem right now, is that the rear subframe is fairly rusty. Now, when I actually took the wheels off to fit these, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's certainly not ideal. Those two are looking as if I'm committing crimes over here. But yeah, I'll show you underneath. So the rear subframe is looking a bit bad for itself. Now, there's worse out there, don't get me wrong, but there is also better. And this is going to need sorting at some point too. Both the rear shocks on this car are also blown. Now, they're not blown to the extent where I've got no shock at all, but they are misting and definitely are worn. So the rear shocks are going to need doing, but obviously when I come to lift this, we're going to see an improvement with brand new shocks and springs on the rear with the lift kit, front shock assembly, new drop links front and rear as well with the lift kit. So we're doing it all properly, as we should do. But apart from that, that's really all the issues. Now, you're probably thinking, flipping out, Lewis, you're being a bit tight. And I am, really, because this car is over 20 years old and is, you know, is worn in. 150,000 miles is a lot. So it's all understandable stuff. Now, I have looked underneath there. There's no holes in it. It's all still strong under there. It's just very worn surface rust and dirt build up under there. So I will be looking towards the end of this year to be fitting a new rear subframe. And when we do fit the rear subframe, we'll be fitting a 1-inch subframe spacer lift on the front and the rear as well, along with the suspension lift, which is coming before that too. So all the issues will be resolved. It's just a matter of time and money. And I've just got to put the most important things first. So we'll be rectifying the rear suspension, the rear shocks, and it will be looking into getting the braking issue resolved. But for now, that is everything wrong with my XC90. And actually, it's still drivable and does the things it needs to do. It's just a work in progress. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and you'll see all these videos coming as I fix it as I go. So guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.